Tonight I shall share with you 7 principles that, when properly understood and applied, will transform your entire world in a single day. Not in a year, not in a month, but in one day. For you see, transformation does not require time, it requires understanding. Let me share with you these 7 principles that revolutionized my understanding and instantaneously transformed my world. But before I share them, you must understand that these are not mere techniques or strategies. These are divine principles that reveal the very nature of reality itself. The first principle is this: your consciousness is the only reality. Not your thoughts, not your emotions, but your consciousness, your I am-ness. This principle, when truly understood, will shake the very foundation of your world. For you see, what you are conscious of being, you must become. Consider the words of Scripture. Be still and know that I am God. Notice it doesn't say become God or try to be God. It says know that I am God. This knowing, this consciousness is the first principle that will transform your world instantly when truly grasped. Many of you come to me asking how long it takes to change your life. But I tell you now, when you grasp this first principle, that your consciousness is the only reality, change is instantaneous. For you see, you don't become what you want, you become what you are conscious of being. The second principle is this: the world is yourself pushed out. Everything you see, everything you experience, every person you meet, all of it is yourself pushed out. This is not philosophy, this is law. When you truly understand this principle, you will never again blame circumstances or other people. Let me share with you how this second principle works. When you look at your world, you are not seeing something separate from yourself. You are seeing your consciousness made visible. Your financial situation, your relationships, your health, all of it is your consciousness pushed out. Consider this carefully. If you don't like what you see in your world, you don't try to change the world. You change your consciousness, and the world must change to reflect it. For the world has no choice but to reflect your consciousness. It is yourself pushed out. The third principle is this: the feeling is the secret. Not the words you speak, not the actions you take, but the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This principle, when properly understood, eliminates all struggle and effort from manifestation. Let me share with you what I mean by feeling. I am not speaking of emotion or sensation. I am speaking of the feeling of naturalness, the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you have this feeling, you have the secret of creation itself. Consider how you feel about your own name. You don't hope it's your name. You don't affirm it's your name. You simply feel the naturalness of it being your name. This is the feeling I'm speaking of. When you can feel this same naturalness about your desire, you have mastered the third principle. The fourth principle is this: everyone is yourself pushed out. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but literally. Every person you encounter is playing the role that your consciousness has assigned them. When you grasp this principle, relationships transform instantly. Let me share with you how this fourth principle works in practice. If someone is treating you unkindly, you don't try to change their behavior. You change your consciousness of them, and they must change to reflect your new consciousness. For they have no choice, they are yourself pushed out. Consider this carefully. When you say that person is against me, you are really saying, I am conscious of being someone against whom that person is set. Change your consciousness, and they must change their behavior. The fifth principle is this: there is no such thing as time in consciousness. The future is not ahead of you waiting to happen. It exists now in your consciousness. When you grasp this principle, all sense of waiting and delay disappears. Let me share with you why this principle is so transformative. Most people think their desire takes time to manifest. But I tell you now, Time is not a factor in manifestation. What matters is the intensity of your consciousness, not the duration of your waiting. Consider the words of Scripture before they call, I will answer. This is telling you that your desire already exists in consciousness. Your task is not to create it, but to accept it as already existing now. The sixth principle is this: revision is creation. What you call the past is simply memory, and memory can be revised. When you revise the past in imagination, you literally recreate your world. This principle, when properly understood, gives you complete freedom from the tyranny of past events. Let me share with you how this sixth principle works. If you don't like something that happened today, you don't try to forget it or overcome it. Instead, you revise it in your imagination. See it happening differently. Feel it happening differently. And that revision becomes the truth in consciousness. Consider this: your present circumstances are the result of your past thoughts and feelings. Change those past thoughts and feelings through revision, and you must change your present circumstances. The seventh and final principle is this: your imaginal acts become facts. What you imagine with feeling, what you accept as true in consciousness, must become facts in your world. This principle, when properly understood, eliminates all doubt and uncertainty about manifestation. Let me share with you how these 7 principles work together to transform your life in a single day. First, you must understand that these principles are not sequential. They are simultaneous. They are all operating in your life right now, whether you're aware of them or not. Consider how the first principle, consciousness is the only reality, works with the second principle. The world is yourself pushed out. When you really grasp these together, you realize that every single thing you're conscious of must express itself in your world. Let me give you a perfect example from Scripture. When Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, he was demonstrating these principles. He was conscious of being the way, first principle, and his world had to reflect that consciousness, second principle. Now let's see how the third principle, the feeling is the secret, works with the fourth principle. Everyone is yourself pushed out. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, everyone in your world must play their part to bring about that fulfillment. They have no choice, for they are yourself pushed out. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can these principles transform my life in just one day? Let me tell you something. Transformation doesn't require time, it requires acceptance. When you truly accept these principles, transformation is instantaneous. Consider how the fifth principle, there is no time in consciousness, works with the sixth principle, revision is creation. Because there is no time in consciousness, you can revise any event, any circumstance, any relationship right now. And that revision must manifest in your world. Let me share with you how the seventh principle, imaginal acts become facts, ties all of these together. When you imagine with feeling, accepting your consciousness as the only reality, seeing the world as yourself pushed out, knowing there is no time, and revising what needs to be revised, your imaginal act must become a fact. But, and this is crucial, you must apply these principles from understanding, not from hope or wish. Most people try to use these principles while still believing in external causes. But I tell you now, there are no external causes. All causes lie in consciousness. Let me share with you what I call the 4 stages of applying these principles. Most people fail because they don't understand these stages, and therefore they abandon the principles before transformation can occur. The first stage is understanding. This is where you truly grasp that these principles are not techniques or methods, but laws of consciousness as exact as mathematics. When you understand them at this level, you stop questioning whether they will work and start questioning whether you're applying them correctly. The second stage is acceptance. This is where you move beyond intellectual understanding to genuine acceptance of these principles as the only reality. When you reach this stage, you no longer need proof or evidence. You know these principles are true just as you know your own name. The third stage is application. But then this is crucial. This is not the mechanical application that most people attempt. This is the natural, effortless application that comes from understanding and acceptance. When you reach this stage, you're no longer trying to make things happen. You're allowing them to happen according to law. The fourth stage is transformation. This is where your entire world begins to reflect your new understanding. Not gradually, not eventually, but instantly. For you see, when you truly understand, accept, and apply these principles, transformation must follow. It is law. Let me share with you how each of the 7 principles operates at each stage. Take the first principle, consciousness is the only reality. At the understanding stage, you grasp this intellectually. At the acceptance stage, you know it is truth. At the application stage, you live from it. At the transformation stage, your world reflects it. Consider how the second principle, the world is yourself pushed out, works through these stages. At understanding, you see the logic of it. At acceptance, you know it as fact. At application, you take full responsibility for your world. At transformation, your world reshapes itself to match your consciousness. Many of you may be wondering about the role of time in these stages. Let me tell you something, time is only involved in the understanding stage. Once you move to acceptance, time ceases to be a factor. For you see, acceptance, and application, and transformation are all aspects of the eternal now. Let me share with you how the third principle, the feeling is the secret, operates through these 4 stages. At the understanding stage, you grasp that feeling is more powerful than thought. At the acceptance stage, you know that feeling is the very substance of creation. At the application stage, you naturally occupy the feeling of your wish fulfilled. At the transformation stage, your world rearranges itself to match your feeling. Consider this carefully. Most people try to feel after they see evidence of their desire. But I tell you now, feeling must precede evidence. This is why the third principle is so transformative. It reverses the common approach to manifestation. Let me show you how the fourth principle, everyone is yourself pushed out, works through these stages. At understanding, you see how others reflect your consciousness. At acceptance, you know they must reflect your consciousness. At application, you naturally revise your consciousness of others. At transformation, they instantly begin to reflect your revised consciousness. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, what if others have free will? Let me tell you something my teacher Abdullah taught me. There is only one consciousness individualizing all of humanity. Therefore, what you call others' free will is really your consciousness of them pushed out. Consider how the fifth principle, there is no time in consciousness, operates through these stages. At understanding, you grasp that time is psychological, not chronological. At acceptance, you know that now is the only reality. At application, you naturally live from the end. At transformation, your desired future becomes your present reality. Let me share with you what happened when I first grasped this principle. I saw that all my waiting for things to manifest was actually delaying their manifestation. For you see, as long as you're waiting for something, you're pushing it into a future that never arrives. Consider how the sixth principle, revision is creation, works through these stages. At understanding, you see that memory can be changed. At acceptance, you know that revising the past changes the present. At application, you naturally revise unwanted experiences. At transformation, your revised past creates a new present. Let me share with you how the seventh principle, imaginal acts become facts, operates through these stages. At understanding, you grasp that imagination creates reality. At acceptance, you know that what you imagine must externalize itself. At application, you naturally live in your imagination. At transformation, your imaginal acts become your physical facts. Consider this carefully. When these 7 principles are properly understood and applied together, they create what I call the divine circle of creation. The first principle establishes that consciousness is the only reality. The second principle shows that the world must reflect consciousness. The third principle reveals how to impress consciousness through feeling. The fourth principle demonstrates that everyone must play their part. The fifth principle eliminates time from the equation. The sixth principle allows for instant revision of unwanted states. And the seventh principle guarantees manifestation. Let me share with you the 3 most common mistakes people make when applying these principles. The first mistake is trying to use them as techniques rather than living them as truth. The second mistake is looking for results before fully accepting the principles. The third mistake is abandoning the principles when circumstances seem to contradict them. But I tell you now, when you truly understand these principles, you cannot make these mistakes. For you see, understanding brings acceptance. Acceptance brings application. And application brings transformation, all in a single day. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these principles. You stop trying to change things in the outer world because you know the outer world is yourself pushed out. You stop waiting for things to happen because you know there is no time in consciousness. You stop worrying about others' reactions because you know they are yourself pushed out. Let me share with you what I call the 3 orders of understanding these principles. The first order is intellectual understanding. You grasp them with your mind. The second order is emotional understanding. You feel their truth in your heart. The third order is spiritual understanding. You know them in your soul. Let me share with you what I call the 5 states of consciousness that these principles reveal. The first state is the state of confusion. This is where most people lie, not understanding that they are the creators of their reality. The second state is the state of awakening. This is where you begin to grasp these principles intellectually. You start to see the connection between your consciousness and your world. But be careful, many people get stuck in this state, endlessly studying but never moving to application. The third state is the state of testing. This is where you begin to apply these principles in your life. You start small, testing them in various situations. But remember, you're not really testing the principles, you're testing your understanding of them. For these principles are law, as exact as mathematics. The fourth state is the state of knowing. This is where you move beyond testing to absolute certainty. You no longer need proof because you know these principles are true, just as you know your own name is true. The fifth state is the state of being. This is where you don't just know the principles, you become them. You live from them naturally, effortlessly, continuously. This is the state from which instant transformation occurs. Consider how these states relate to the 7 principles. In the state of confusion, you don't even know these principles exist. In the state of awakening, you begin to understand them. In the state of testing, you start to apply them. In the state of knowing, you trust them completely. In the state of being, you are them. Let me share with you what happened when I moved through these states. In the state of confusion, I was like everyone else, believing in external causes, blaming circumstances, waiting for things to change. In the state of awakening, I began to see that my consciousness was creating my reality. But I wasn't yet ready to take full responsibility for it. In the state of testing, I began to apply these principles in specific situations. I would consciously revise events, imagine desired outcomes, assume the feeling of wishes fulfilled. And I saw results, but I was still separate from the principles. In the state of knowing, something profound happened. I no longer needed to test these principles because I knew them as law. Just as you don't test whether gravity will work each morning, I no longer tested whether these principles would work. I knew they must work because they are law. Let me share with you what the state of being looks like. In this state, you don't try to use the principles, you live them. You don't think about consciousness being the only reality, you live from that knowing. You don't try to feel your wish fulfilled, you naturally occupy that state. Consider what happens when you reach this state of being. The 7 principles are no longer separate from you, they are you. The first principle, consciousness is the only reality, becomes your natural state of awareness. The second principle, the world is yourself pushed out, becomes your constant understanding. The third principle, the feeling is the secret, becomes your natural way of creating. The fourth principle, everyone is yourself pushed out, becomes your fundamental relationship with others. The fifth principle, there is no time in consciousness, becomes your perpetual now. The sixth principle, revision is creation, becomes your automatic response to unwanted events. And the seventh principle, imaginal acts become facts, becomes your normal way of living. Let me share with you the 3 signs that indicate you've reached the state of being. First, you no longer try to make things happen. You know they must happen according to law. Second, you no longer react to circumstances, you simply revise them. Third, you no longer wait for manifestation, you live from the end. Consider this carefully. These 7 principles transform my life in one day, not because they are magical, but because they are law. When you truly understand them, truly live them, transformation must follow. It cannot be otherwise. Let me share with you the final truth about these 7 principles. When fully understood and lived from, they eliminate what most people call problems. For you see, problems can only exist when you believe in external causes. When you know that consciousness is the only reality, that the world is yourself pushed out, that feeling is the secret, that everyone is yourself pushed out, that there is no time, that revision is creation, and that imaginal acts become facts, what problem could possibly exist? Consider this carefully. Every problem you think you have is simply a misunderstanding of these principles. If you have a financial problem, you're forgetting that consciousness is the only reality. If you have a relationship problem, you're forgetting that everyone is yourself pushed out. If you have a health problem, you're forgetting that feeling is the secret. Let me share with you what happens when you live from these principles. You stop trying to solve problems and start revising states of consciousness. You stop trying to change others and start changing your consciousness of them. You stop trying to make things happen and start living from the end. These principles transformed my life in one day because I stopped trying to use them and started living them. I stopped seeing them as tools and started seeing them as laws. I stopped applying them occasionally and started living from them continuously. Remember this, transformation doesn't take time. It takes understanding. When you truly understand these 7 principles, truly live from them, truly become them, your entire world must transform. Not because you made it happen, but because it must happen according to law. That's the message I want to leave with you tonight. These principles will transform your life in one day when you truly understand them. Not because they are magical, but because they are law. Not because they are techniques, but because they are truth. And isn't that worth thinking about? Thank you all, and good night. My dear friends, imagine standing before a vast, infinite ocean of possibility. This ocean, my beloved, is your consciousness, boundless, eternal, and ever responsive to your deepest beliefs and assumptions. Tonight we shall embark on a journey together, a journey into the very heart of creation itself. Our destination? A state of unwavering faith in the perfection of all things, a state where you act as if everything always works out for you. Now some of you might be thinking, but Neville, how can I possibly act as if everything always works out when my current reality shows me otherwise? And to you, I say this. Your current reality is but a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. It holds no power over your future unless you grant it such power. The world you see is a world that was. The world you will inhabit is the world you are imagining now. Consider for a moment the words of that great teacher who said, all things are possible to him who believes these are not mere words of comfort, my friends. They are a profound truth, a law as immutable as gravity itself. For in this universe, belief is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you truly believe, when you act from the conviction that all is working out for your highest good, you set in motion forces beyond your current comprehension. Let me share with you a principle that once grasped will revolutionize your entire existence. It is this: the world is yourself pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every event in your life is but an outpicturing of your own consciousness. When you change the content of your consciousness, when you alter your deep-seated beliefs about the nature of reality, the entire world must conform to this new pattern. So how does one begin to act as if everything always works out? It starts, my dear listeners, with a shift in perception. Instead of seeing the world as a place of struggle and strife, begin to see it as a playground of infinite possibility. Instead of viewing challenges as obstacles, see them as opportunities for growth and expansion. This is not mere positive thinking. This is a fundamental restructuring of your relationship with reality itself. Imagine for a moment that you are an actor on a grand stage. The play is your life, and you have been given a role to play. Now, what if I told you that you are not just the actor, but also the playwright, the director, and even the audience? What if I revealed to you that you have the power to rewrite the script at any moment, to direct the flow of events according to your deepest desires? This, my friends, is the essence of acting as if everything always works out for you. It is the recognition that you are the author of your own story, the creator of your own destiny. When you truly internalize this truth, when you allow it to permeate every fiber of your being, you will find that the universe itself conspires to bring about your good. But let me be clear, this is not about denying the existence of challenges or pretending that difficulties do not arise. Rather, it is about maintaining an unshakable faith that all things, all events, all circumstances are working together for your ultimate benefit. It is about trusting in the perfect unfolding of your life's journey, even when the path ahead seems uncertain or fraught with obstacles. Consider the life of Joseph in the biblical narrative. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, he could have easily succumbed to despair. But Joseph maintained his faith. He acted as if everything was working out for him, even in the darkest of circumstances. And lo and behold, those very circumstances that seemed to spell his doom became the stepping stones to his ultimate triumph. You see, my dear friends, when you act as if everything always works out for you, you align yourself with the very creative power of the universe. You tap into a wellspring of infinite wisdom and intelligence that knows far better than your limited human mind how to bring about your highest good. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this attitude when everything around me seems to be falling apart? And to you, I say this: your outer world is but a reflection of your inner assumptions. If you persist in the assumption that all is well, that all is working out for your highest good, then that must become your experience. Remember, the human imagination is not bound by the constraints of physical reality. In your imagination, you can be, do or have anything you desire. And as you persist in imagining the ideal outcome, as you continue to act as if everything always works out for you, you will find that your outer world begins to reshape itself to match your inner vision. Let me share with you a technique that I have found immensely powerful in cultivating this state of being. Before you sleep each night, review your day as if everything had worked out perfectly. See in your mind's eye each event, each interaction, each circumstance resolving in the most favorable way possible. Feel the joy, the relief, the profound gratitude that accompanies this perfect unfolding of events. As you drift off to sleep in this state of perfect contentment, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the true seat of creative power, the belief that everything always works out for you. And as you continue this practice night after night, you will find that your waking experiences begin to mirror your nightly imagined acts. But remember, my friends, this is not about escaping into a fantasy world. It is about recognizing the true nature of reality, that the world of imagination is the real world, and the world of physical senses is but a shadow. When you act from this understanding, when you live from the state of knowing that everything always works out for you, you are not denying reality. You are creating it. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this profound truth. Every experience you have ever had, every circumstance you have ever encountered, began first as a state of consciousness. Your beliefs, your assumptions, your habitual thoughts, these are the raw materials from which your reality is fashioned. When you adopt the state of consciousness that everything always works out for you, you are essentially tuning your mental radio to a frequency of perfect harmony and divine order. And just as surely as a radio receiver picks up the signals that match its frequency, so too will your life experience begin to reflect this new state of being. But here's the crucial point, my dear listeners, you must persist in this new state. You must be willing to ignore the evidence of your physical senses when they contradict your chosen assumption. This is where many falter on the path to mastery. They begin with great enthusiasm, declaring that everything always works out for them, but at the first sign of apparent failure or setback, they abandon their assumption and fall back into old patterns of thought. Remember, the physical world is always a few steps behind the world of imagination. There may be a time lag between your change in consciousness and its manifestation in your outer experience. During this period of transition, you must hold fast to your new assumption. You must continue to act as if everything always works out for you, even when your senses scream otherwise. This, my friends, is the true test of faith, not a blind faith in some external power, but a deep, abiding faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. It is a faith that says, though the entire world may seem to conspire against me, I know that everything is working out for my highest good. Now let me address a question that often arises when I speak on this subject. Some ask, but Neville, if I act as if everything always works out for me, won't I become complacent? Won't I lose my drive to improve and overcome challenges? To this I say, acting as if everything always works out for you does not mean sitting idly by and expecting the world to cater to your every whim. Rather, it means approaching every situation, every challenge, every opportunity with an unshakable confidence in your ability to navigate it successfully. When you truly embrace this mindset, you'll find that your actions become more inspired, more purposeful. You'll be moved to take bold steps that you might have hesitated to take before. You'll find yourself rising to meet challenges with enthusiasm rather than dread, seeing them as opportunities for growth and expansion rather than obstacles to be feared. Moreover, this state of being naturally aligns you with what I call your high self, that aspect of you that is one with the divine creative power of the universe. From this alignment flows a wisdom and intuition that far surpasses the limited reasoning of the human intellect. You'll find yourself guided to take actions that lead to your highest good, often in ways that your rational mind could never have conceived. Let me illustrate this with a personal anecdote. Many years ago, when I first arrived in New York City, I found myself in dire financial straits. By all outward appearances, my situation was hopeless. But instead of succumbing to despair, I chose to act as if everything was working out perfectly for me. I imagined myself living in abundance, sharing my understanding of the law with eager audiences. Now, had I relied solely on my human intellect, I might have frantically searched for any job that would pay the bills. But acting from the state of knowing that all was well, I was guided to take a series of seemingly irrational actions. These actions, which made little sense to my rational mind at the time, ultimately led me to the very opportunities I had imagined for myself. You see, when you act as if everything always works out for you, you open yourself to a higher intelligence, a divine wisdom that knows exactly how to bring about your good in ways that your limited human mind cannot fathom. But let me be clear, this is not about wishful thinking or naive optimism. It is about aligning yourself with the fundamental creative principle of the universe. It is about recognizing that you are not a helpless victim of circumstance, but a powerful creator shaping your reality through your consciousness. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about the really big problems in my life? Surely this principle can't apply to everything and to you. I say, there are no big or small problems in the eyes of the infinite. The same power that can manifest a parking space can manifest a mansion. The same principle that can heal a paper cut can heal a terminal illness. The only limits that exist are the limits you place on your own imagination. When you truly grasp this, when you begin to act from this understanding, you'll find that the distinction between possible and impossible begins to blur. You'll start to see that the only true impossibility is that which you decree to be so in your own mind. Let me share with you another powerful technique for embodying this state of being. Throughout your day, whenever you encounter a situation that seems challenging or problematic, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how would I approach this if I knew with absolute certainty that everything always works out for me? Feel the shift in your energy as you ask this question. Notice how your perspective changes, how solutions that were hidden before suddenly become apparent. This simple practice, performed consistently, can transform your entire life experience. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about denying or suppressing negative emotions. If you feel fear, anxiety, or doubt arising, acknowledge these feelings. Thank them for their intention to protect you. But then gently remind yourself of the greater truth. Everything always works out for you. As you continue to practice this, you'll find that these negative emotions begin to lose their grip on you. They may still arise, but they will pass through you like clouds in the sky, unable to shake your seated knowing that all is well. Now, let us address another aspect of this principle that is often misunderstood. Acting as if everything always works out for you does not mean that you will never face challenges or that your life will be free from apparent setbacks. Rather, it means that you approach these situations with a fundamentally different attitude. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth and expansion. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, you see them as necessary course corrections on your journey to your desired outcome. This shift in perspective is crucial, for it allows you to maintain your chosen state of consciousness even in the face of challenges. And remember, it is your state of consciousness that determines your future experiences. Consider the life of any great achiever, any person who has left an indelible mark on the world. Without exception, you will find that their path was strewn with challenges, setbacks, and apparent failures. But what set them apart was their unshakable faith in their ultimate success, their ability to act as if everything was always working out for them, even in the darkest of times. Take, for example, the Wright brothers. For years, they labored to achieve powered flight, facing ridicule, financial hardship, and countless failed attempts. But they persisted in their assumption that flight was possible, that all their efforts were leading them to success. And indeed, everything did work out for them in the end, in a way that transformed the world. You see, my dear listeners, when you act as if everything always works out for you, you tap into a power that can move mountains. You align yourself with the very creative force of the universe. And in doing so, you become an unstoppable force of nature. But let me caution you, this is not about forcing outcomes or trying to control every aspect of your life. Rather, it is about surrendering to a higher wisdom, trusting in the perfect unfolding of your life's journey. It is about recognizing that the intelligence that beats your heart and grows your fingernails knows far better than your limited human mind how to bring about your highest good. When you truly embody this state of being, you'll find that you no longer need to struggle or strive in the way you once did. Your actions become more effortless, more inspired. You begin to flow with the current of life rather than constantly swimming against it. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this state when the world around me seems so chaotic and unpredictable? And to you, the world around you is a reflection of your own consciousness. When you change your consciousness, when you steadfastly hold to the assumption that everything always works out for you, you will find that the world reshapes itself to match this new pattern. Remember, your consciousness is the only true causative power in your life. External circumstances, no matter how seemingly solid or unchangeable, are always secondary to your state of being. When you truly grasp this, when you begin to live from this understanding, you will witness what can only be described as miracles in your life. But let me be clear, this is not about ignoring problems or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about approaching these situations from a fundamentally different state of consciousness. It's about knowing deep in your bones that no matter what appears to be happening on the surface, everything is ultimately working out for your highest good. This knowing, this unshakable faith, becomes your anchor in the storms of life. It becomes the lens through which you interpret every event, every circumstance. And as you persist in this state, you'll find that the storms themselves begin to calm. That the challenges that once seemed insurmountable begin to resolve themselves in ways you could never have anticipated. Now, let me share with you another powerful practice for embodying this state of being. Each night before you sleep, take a few moments to review your day. But instead of simply recounting the events as they occurred, reimagine them as if everything had worked out perfectly. See that difficult conversation with your boss transforming into a productive exchange that leads to new opportunities. Envision that financial setback resolving itself in a way that ultimately benefits you. Picture that health challenge leading you to discover a new level of vitality and well-being. As you fall asleep in this state of perfect contentment, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the true seat of creative power, the belief that everything always works out for you. And as you continue this practice night after night, you will find that your waking experiences begin to align more and more closely with your imaginal acts. But remember, my friends, this is not about escaping into fantasy. It is about recognizing the true nature of reality. That your imagination is the creative power of God within you, and that the world you experience is but an outpicturing of your own consciousness. When you act from this understanding, when you live from the state of knowing that everything always works out for you, you are not denying reality. you are creating it. You are exercising your divine right as a co-creator with the infinite. Now let us delve even deeper into the mechanics of this profound truth. Every experience you have ever had, every circumstance you have ever encountered began first as a state of consciousness. Your beliefs, your assumptions, your habitual thoughts, these are the raw materials from which your reality is fashioned. When you adopt the state of consciousness that everything always works out for you, you are essentially tuning your mental radio to a frequency of perfect harmony and divine order. And just as surely as a radio receiver picks up the signals that match its frequency, so too will your life experience begin to reflect this new state of being. But here's the crucial point, my dear listeners, you must persist in this new state. You must be willing to ignore the evidence of your physical senses when they contradict your chosen assumption. This is where many falter on the path to mastery. They begin with great enthusiasm, declaring that everything always works out for them. But at the first sign of apparent failure or setback, they abandon their assumption and fall back into old patterns of thought. Remember, the physical world is always a few steps behind the world of imagination. There may be a time lag between your change in consciousness and its manifestation in your outer experience. During this period of transition, you must hold fast to your new assumption. You must continue to act as if everything always works out for you, even when your senses scream otherwise. This, my friends, is the true test of faith. Not a blind faith in some external power, but a deep, abiding faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. It is a faith that says, though the entire world may seem to conspire against me, I know that everything is working out for my highest good. As you cultivate this faith, as you persistently act from the state of knowing that everything always works out for you, you will begin to witness what can only be described as miracles in your life. Doors that seem forever closed will suddenly swing open. Resources that you never knew existed will make themselves available to you. People will appear in your life at just the right moment to assist you on your journey. But remember, these are not miracles in the traditional sense of the word. They are simply the natural outworking of the law of consciousness. They are the inevitable result of aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. Now, let me address a concern that often arises when I speak on this subject. Some worry that acting as if everything always works out for them might lead to a kind of passive acceptance of undesirable circumstances. They fear that they might lose their drive to improve their lives or to right the wrongs they see in the world. To this I say, nothing could be further from the truth. When you truly embody the state of knowing that everything always works out for you, you become more empowered, not less. You approach challenges with confidence rather than fear. You take inspired action rather than reacting from a place of desperation or anxiety. Moreover, this state of being naturally aligns you with your highest purpose. You begin to see the bigger picture, to understand how even apparent setbacks are serving your ultimate good and the good of all. From this perspective, you are moved to take actions that are truly in alignment with your deepest values and aspirations. Consider for a moment the great changemakers of history, the men and women who have brought about significant positive changes in the world. Without exception, you will find that they acted from a place of unshakable faith in the rightness of their cause. They persisted in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds because they knew deep in their hearts that everything was working out for the highest good. Martin Luther King Jr., for example, faced violence, imprisonment, and constant threats to his life. Yet he continued to act from the assumption that the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice. He lived as if everything was working out, not just for him personally, but for the entire civil rights movement. And indeed, his faith was vindicated, though he did not live to see the full fruits of his labor. You see, when you act as if everything always works out for you, you tap into a power that is greater than your individual self. You become a channel for the divine creative force of the universe. And in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you become a catalyst for positive change in the world around you. But let me be clear, this is not about becoming complacent or accepting injustice. It is about approaching every situation, no matter how challenging, from a place of empowered faith rather than fear or despair. It is about knowing that you have within you the power to overcome any obstacle, to right any wrong, to create any reality you can imagine. As you continue to practice this way of being, you'll find that your very presence becomes a transformative force in the world. People will be drawn to your unwavering faith, your unshakable peace. They will sense, perhaps unconsciously, that you are tapped into a higher wisdom, a deeper truth. And as you share this truth with others, as you demonstrate through your own life that everything always works out, you become a beacon of hope in a world that so desperately needs it. You become living proof of the infinite potential that lies within each and every human being. Now, my dear friends, as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we have explored tonight, that everything always works out for you, is not just a nice idea or a comforting belief. It is a fundamental truth of existence, a law as immutable as gravity itself. But like any law, it requires your conscious participation to be effective in your life. You must choose moment by moment to align yourself with this truth. You must be willing to relinquish your old beliefs, your old patterns of thought, and embrace this new way of being. It may not always be easy. There will be times when your physical senses, your rational mind, and perhaps even those around you will tell you that things are not working out. In these moments, you must be willing to stand firm in your knowing. You must be willing to say, I do not accept the appearance of things. I know that everything is working out for my highest good, even if I cannot yet see how. As you persist in this practice, as you continue to act as if everything always works out for you, you will begin to witness a transformation in your life that can only be described as miraculous. You will find yourself moving through life with a sense of ease and grace that you may have never thought possible. You will discover within yourself resources of strength, wisdom, and creativity that you never knew you possessed. But more than this, you will begin to understand your true nature as a divine being, as a co-creator with the infinite. You will realize that you are not a helpless victim of circumstance, but a powerful creator, shaping your reality through the power of your consciousness. And as you step into this power, as you fully embrace your role as a conscious creator, you will find that your life becomes a living testament to the truth we have explored tonight. You will become living proof that everything always works out, not just for you, but for all of creation. So go forth, my dear friends, with this knowing deep in your heart. Act as if everything always works out for you, for indeed it does. Trust in the perfect unfolding of your life's journey, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Know that you are guided, supported, and loved beyond measure by the very creative power of the universe itself. And remember, the world is waiting for you to step into your power, to shine your light, to demonstrate through your own life the miraculous truth that everything always works out. The world is waiting for you to become the person you were always meant to be, a conscious creator, aligned with the infinite, living a life of joy, purpose, and boundless possibility. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention and your willingness to explore these profound truths. May you go forth and live from the knowing that everything always works out for you. And in doing so, may you inspire others to do the same. For as you transform your own life, you transform the world. And that, my beloved, is the greatest miracle of all.
Imagine for a moment that you wake up tomorrow morning and everything has changed. You find yourself in a luxurious bedroom, surrounded by the trappings of wealth and success. The silk sheets caress your skin as you stretch out in a bed that feels like a cloud. Sunlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting a warm glow on the elegant furnishings. As you step out of bed, your feet sink into the plush carpet, and you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror. You look different somehow, confident, radiant, and utterly at peace. And then it hits you. This isn't just a dream, this is your new reality. You are now a millionaire with all the power and potential that comes with it. But how did you get here? And more importantly, how can you maintain this incredible state of abundance? The answer may surprise you. It's not about luck or even hard work, though those things certainly play a role. No, the secret to becoming a millionaire lies within the very core of your being. It's a secret that the wealthy have known for centuries, but that most people never discover. And today I'm going to share that secret with you. Are you ready to unlock the door to wealth? Success and abundance beyond your wildest dreams. Are you ready to step into the life you've always imagined for yourself? If so, then listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you has the power to transform your reality in ways you never thought possible. The journey to becoming a millionaire starts with a single, revolutionary idea that you already are one. That's right. The only thing standing between you and the wealth you desire is your own belief system. And once you learn how to align your beliefs with your deepest desires, there will be no limit to what you can achieve. What would it feel like to wake up every day knowing that you have the power to create any reality you choose? What would it feel like to have complete financial freedom? To never worry about money again? What would it feel like to have the time and resources to pursue your passions, to travel the world, to give generously to the causes you believe in? This is the life of a millionaire, and it's a life that is waiting for you. All you have to do is claim it. But how? You might be wondering. How can you possibly become a millionaire when you're starting from where you are now? The answer is simple. By harnessing the power of your imagination. You see, your imagination is the most potent tool you possess. It is the gateway to infinite possibilities and the key to unlocking your true potential. When you learn to use your imagination consciously and deliberately, you can quite literally create any reality you desire. So, how exactly do you harness the power of your imagination to create the reality of a millionaire? It starts with a simple yet profound exercise. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Now imagine yourself living the life of your dreams. See yourself surrounded by all the trappings of wealth and success. The beautiful home, the luxurious car, the designer clothes. Feel the confidence and ease that comes with knowing you have all the resources you need to live life on your own terms. But don't just imagine the external markers of success. Go deeper. Imagine how it feels to wake up every day with a sense of purpose and excitement. Imagine the joy of being able to pursue your passions without worrying about money. Imagine the satisfaction of being able to give generously to the people and causes you care about. Really feel those emotions. The gratitude, the abundance, the deep sense of fulfillment. Now here's the key. You need to practice this exercise every single day. Set aside time each morning and evening to visualize your ideal life in vivid detail. The more real you can make it feel, the more powerful the effect will be. And as you do this consistently, something incredible will start to happen. Your subconscious mind will begin to accept this new reality as truth. You'll start to think, feel, and act like a millionaire, even if your current circumstances don't reflect that. This is the power of your imagination at work. By focusing your mind on the reality you want to create, you're quite literally reprogramming your brain to attract and manifest that reality. You're sending a clear signal to the universe that this is who you are and what you expect to experience. And as you do this consistently, the universe will have no choice but to respond in kind. But it's not just about visualizing and hoping for the best. To truly harness the power of your imagination, you need to back it up with action. Start taking steps, no matter how small, towards the life you want to create. If you want to be a millionaire, start educating yourself about wealth creation. Start saving and investing your money wisely. Start surrounding yourself with people who have already achieved the level of success you desire. As you take consistent action towards your goals, something magical will start to happen. Opportunities will begin to appear out of nowhere. People and resources will come into your life at just the right moment. You start to see evidence of your imagined reality manifesting in your physical world. And as you continue to align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the vibration of wealth and abundance, you will find that your external circumstances begin to shift in incredible ways. This is the true power of your imagination. It's not just a tool for daydreaming or escapism. It's a tool for creation, for quite literally bringing your deepest desires into physical form. And when you combine the power of your imagination with consistent, aligned action, there is nothing you cannot achieve. So start today. Take a few minutes right now to close your eyes and imagine the life of your dreams. Feel the reality of it in every cell of your being. And then open your eyes and start taking action, no matter how small, towards making that vision a reality. The more you do this, the more natural it will become. Until one day you wake up and realize that you're living the life you once only dreamed of. Remember, you are the creator of your own reality. You have the power to shape your life in any way you choose. And when you harness the power of your imagination and back it up with consistent action, there is no limit to what you can achieve. So dream big, take action. And trust in the power of your own mind to create the life of abundance and prosperity you deserve. Now, as powerful as the imagination is, it's not enough on its own to create lasting change. To truly transform your reality and embody the essence of a millionaire, you need to align your inner world with your desired outer world. This means taking a deep dive into your own mind and confronting the beliefs, thoughts, and emotions that may be holding you back from achieving your full potential. Let me ask you a question. What do you currently believe about money and wealth? Do you see it as something scarce and hard to come by? Do you believe that you have to work yourself to the bone just to make ends meet? Do you feel like you're not worthy or deserving of financial abundance? If any of these beliefs resonate with you, then it's time to do some serious inner work. You see, your beliefs are the lens through which you view the world. They shape your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your actions. And if your beliefs are not in alignment with the reality you want to create, then you'll always be fighting an uphill battle. That's why it's so important to identify and challenge any limiting beliefs you may have about money and success. So how do you do that? Start by paying attention to your thoughts. Notice when you have a negative or limiting thought about money and ask yourself, is this really true? Is this belief serving me or is it holding me back? Then consciously choose to replace that thought with a more empowering one. For example, instead of thinking I'll never be able to afford that, try thinking I am open to receiving abundance in all forms. This may feel uncomfortable or even silly at first, but stick with it. The more you practice replacing your limiting beliefs with empowering ones, the more natural it will become. And as you do this consistently, you'll start to notice a shift in your emotions and your actions as well. You'll feel more confident, more optimistic, and more motivated to take action towards your goals. But it's not just about changing your thoughts. To truly align your inner world with your desired reality, you need to feel the emotions of already being a millionaire. This means tapping into the feelings of abundance, gratitude, and joy that come with living a life of financial freedom. And the best way to do this is through the power of visualization. Remember that exercise we did earlier, where you imagined yourself living the life of your dreams. Take that a step further now. Really feel the emotions of that reality. Feel the sense of ease and flow that comes with knowing you have all the resources you need. Feel the deep sense of fulfillment that comes with being able to live life on your own terms. Feel the joy and excitement of being able to create and experience anything you desire. As you practice feeling these emotions regularly, something incredible will start to happen. Your subconscious mind will begin to accept this new emotional state as your default way of being. You'll start to carry yourself with a new sense of confidence and ease. You'll start to attract people and opportunities that are in alignment with your desired reality. And you'll start to take inspired action towards your goals, knowing that success is inevitable. This is the power of aligning your inner world with your desired outer world. By changing your beliefs, your thoughts, and your emotions, you're quite literally changing the vibrational frequency at which you operate. And when you operate at the frequency of wealth and abundance, the universe has no choice. But it's important to remember that this is a practice, not a one-time event. You didn't develop your current beliefs and thought patterns overnight, and you won't change them overnight either. It takes consistent effort and dedication to rewire your brain for success. But the more you practice, the easier it will become, until one day you wake up and realize that your inner world and your outer world are in perfect harmony. So start today. Take some time to examine your beliefs about money and success. Notice where you may be holding yourself back and consciously choose to replace those limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Practice feeling the emotions of abundance and gratitude, even if your current circumstances don't reflect that. And trust that as you align your inner world with your desired reality, your outer world will begin to shift in miraculous ways. Remember, you are the creator of your own reality. You have the power to shape your beliefs, your thoughts, and your emotions in any way you choose. And when you do the inner work to align yourself with the vibration of wealth and success, there's nothing you cannot achieve. So keep practicing, keep believing, and keep moving forward, knowing that your wildest dreams are well within reach. So, Now that you understand the importance of aligning your inner world with your desired reality, let's dive deeper into what it really means to cultivate a millionaire mindset. Because here's the truth. Becoming a millionaire isn't just about the actions you take or the strategies you employ. It's about who you become in the process. It's about adopting the thoughts, beliefs, and habits of someone who is already wealthy and successful. If you want to become physically fit, you wouldn't just go through the motions of working out and eating healthy. You would actually embody the identity of a fit person. You would start to see yourself as someone who prioritizes their health and well-being. You would make choices that align with that identity, even when it's not easy or convenient. And as a result, you would naturally start to look and feel like the fit person you already believe yourself to be. The same principle applies to cultivating a millionaire mindset. If you want to become a millionaire, you need to start seeing yourself as one right here and now. You need to embody the identity of someone who is wealthy, successful, and abundant in every way. And the more you do this, the more your external reality will begin to reflect your internal state. So what does it actually mean to have a millionaire mindset? Well, there are a few key characteristics that most wealthy and successful people share. And if you want to cultivate a millionaire mindset for yourself, it's important to understand and embody these traits. First and foremost, millionaires have an unwavering belief in themselves and their abilities. They know that they're capable of achieving anything they set their minds to, no matter how big or audacious the goal may seem. They don't let fear, doubt, or other people's opinions hold them back from going after what they want. Instead, they cultivate an unshakable sense of self-confidence and trust in their own potential. If you want to cultivate this kind of self-belief, start by affirming yourself every day. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, I'm capable of achieving anything I desire. I trust in my abilities and my potential. I am worthy of wealth, success, and abundance in every form. Repeat these affirmations to yourself regularly, even if they don't feel entirely true at first. The more you practice believing in yourself, the more natural it will become. Another key trait of millionaires is that they have a growth mindset. They don't see failure or setbacks as permanent roadblocks, but rather as opportunities for learning and growth. They understand that success is not a straight line, but rather a journey of ups and downs, twists and turns, and they embrace the challenges and obstacles along the way, knowing that each one is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. To cultivate a growth mindset, start by reframing the way you think about failure. Instead of seeing it as a personal shortcoming or a reason to give up, see it as a valuable lesson and an opportunity to course correct. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this setback to become better and stronger? And then take action based on those insights, knowing that each step forward is bringing you closer to your ultimate goals. Millionaires also tend to be highly focused and disciplined in their pursuits. They don't get sidetracked by shiny objects or temporary distractions. Instead, they stay laser focused on their goals and priorities, and they take consistent action towards achieving them every single day. They understand that success is not about making a few big, dramatic leaps, but rather about taking small, deliberate steps in the right direction over time. To cultivate this kind of focus and discipline, start by getting clear on your goals and priorities. What do you really want to achieve in your life and business? What is most important to you? Once you have that clarity, create a plan of action and commit to taking consistent steps towards your goals every day, no matter how small those steps may seem. And when distractions or obstacles arise, as they inevitably will, remind yourself of your bigger vision and stay the course. Finally, millionaires tend to surround themselves with other successful, like-minded people. They understand the power of peer influence and the importance of having a strong support system on their journey to success. They seek out mentors, coaches, and colleagues who can challenge them, inspire them, and help them grow. And they're intentional about creating an environment that supports their goals and aspirations. To cultivate this kind of supportive environment for yourself, start by seeking out people who are already living the kind of life you want to create. Attend events and conferences in your industry. Join mastermind groups or coaching programs. And surround yourself with individuals who are committed to growth and success. And as you build these relationships, be generous with your own knowledge, resources, and support. The more you give to others, the more you will receive in return. Cultivating a millionaire mindset is not a one-time event, but rather a lifelong journey of growth and self-discovery. It requires consistent effort, dedication, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. But the rewards are more than worth it. When you embody the thoughts, beliefs, and habits of a millionaire, you quite literally become a magnet for wealth, success, and abundance in every area of your life. So start today. Affirm your self-belief, cultivate a growth mindset, stay focused and disciplined in your pursuits, and surround yourself with people who support and inspire you. And trust that as you do this inner work, your outer world will begin to reflect the millionaire mindset you've cultivated within. Remember, you are not just trying to become a millionaire. You are becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts wealth and success in all forms. You're becoming the best version of yourself. And in doing so, you're creating a life of true abundance and fulfillment. So keep going. Keep growing. And keep believing in the power of your own potential. The world is waiting for you to claim your place as a true millionaire, in every sense of the word. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, okay, I understand the importance of cultivating a millionaire mindset.